This is the semester review, page 1. Before we get started, on your page 1, you can skip number 3. That's a matrice that we didn't get to just yet. We'll probably do that next semester. So you can skip that problem. I'm just going to work through these problems and give you some tips fairly quickly. Number 1, you have 2 equations and it asks for how many solutions does this system of linear equations have. There's 2 ways you could do this. You could graph it or you could solve it. So if you graph it, you have to get y by itself. If you're going to solve it, you can either use elimination or you can try to do some substituting. But what we're going to do is just do some elimination. If I multiply my top line by -2, then it will change this to be negative 6x minus 2y equals -8. And the other equation, if you leave that alone, 2x plus 2y equals positive 8. Then we're going to add this straight down. So negative 6x plus 2x is negative 4x. Negative 2y and positive 2y will cancel each other out. Negative 8 plus 8 gives you 0. If you divide by 4, negative 4, x equals 0. That's the first part of my solution. I'm going to come back and substitute this to find out what the y is. So 2 times 0 plus 2y equals 8. 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2y is 2y. Divide by 2, and y is 4. So how many solutions are there? Well, there's one x value and there's one y value, and you put them together. So there's one solution, and so how many solutions are there? 1. Okay. The second problem says to evaluate. We're going to take x equals -3. So 2 times -3 squared minus 4 times -3. Notice that I've used parentheses where I plugged this in. The reason I did that was because if x is going to be -3, that negative can really mess things up. So following your order of operations, the first thing we're going to do is square this. So that makes 2 times 9 minus 4 times -3. Then I'm going to multiply. 2 times 9 is 18 minus 4 times -3 is -12. I have 2 negatives, which makes a positive, so now I have 18 plus 12, which is 30. Number 3 is an absolute, nope, not number 3, we're skipping number 3. Number 4 is an absolute value problem. You may remember absolute value makes a v, and absolute value also has 2 solutions. So how do we find those 2 solutions? We start out by writing the equation x plus 11 equals 4, and then we're also going to write x plus 11 equals -4, because absolute values could have been positive or negative to begin with. So we're going to just solve each of these equations. -11, -11. So x equals 4 minus 11, which is -7. There's one solution. On the other equation, I'm going to subtract 11 and subtract 11. So x equals -4 minus 11, which is -15. And there are your 2 solutions. Number 5, the question is, what is the slope of this line? If y equals mx plus b, the wording may seem strange to you, but really all the question is asking you is, where's the slope? And the slope is right there. So slope equals m. If you wanted to find the b, if the question was about what is the b, remember the b is the y-intercept. Oops. Got a little carried away there. Number 6, the question says, what tells you if a function is linear? Well, the reason number 5 and number 6 are together is because you can tell if you have a linear function, it's always going to be linear if you can write it in the form y equals mx plus b. So if I had y equals 3x plus 2, that's linear. If I had y equals 3, excuse me, that's linear. But something that's not linear would be absolute value, or x squared, or any other way of x being changed from y equals mx plus b. Number 7, the question is asking about the population of a city. You're going to find the average rate of change. The words average rate of change mean slope. So I have written the slope formula, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. And so they give us 2 points. So we have 221,000 minus 110,000 divided by 10 minus 0. So this was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This gives me 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. So I have 111,000 divided by 10. And so 111,000 divided by 10 is 11,100. So we have 11,100 people. Number 8, the problem is solve for t. This is just practicing getting one of your variables by itself. We want t to be by itself. So I'm going to divide 9s squared on both sides, because dividing by 9s squared is going to cancel this and leave t by itself. So t equals b divided by 9s squared. That's how you get that by itself. Number 9, we're going to write the equation of a line that's perpendicular to the line they've given us. So the slope here is negative 3 over 5. The perpendicular slope that we want is going to be the negative reciprocal. So we're going to take 3 over 5 and change it to 5 over 3. This was negative, now it's going to be positive. So my new slope that we're going to use is 5/3. Then it also tells us that the y-intercept is negative 5. And remember, b stands for y-intercept, so b is going to be negative 5. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals our m, which is 5/3, x, plus b, which is negative 5. So I'm just going to write it as minus 5. And that is the equation of our line. Number 10 is a word problem, so I'm going to read through it. Your softball team is ordering equipment from a catalog. Each bat costs $42. So $42 for a bat. The cost of shipping is $15, no matter how much you order. The total cost is $388. How many bats did your team order? So I left a space here. So 42, and I'm just going to label that B, because it's $42 per bat. So $42 times B, plus 15, which is our shipping cost, equals 388. And all we have to do is solve this equation. So I'm going to start by subtracting 15 from both sides. So 42B equals 373. And then I'm going to divide by 42, which is going to be difficult because I don't have a calculator with me. So, just a moment. Alright, so when you divide 373 by 42, you get approximately 8.7. It would be much better if we had an answer that was a whole number, but since we didn't, we have to realize that bats come in wholes, so I can't order 8.7 bats. I have to order 8 bats. If I order 9, then it would be too many. It costs too much money. So the answer to that is 8 bats. Number 11, I'm going to solve this for x, but first I'm going to distribute. Oh, I'm not solving, I'm sorry. I'm going to simplify this. So first I'm going to distribute, so I have negative 2x plus 4 minus 9x plus 9. Make sure you distribute the negative with your 9 and the negative with your 2. Now, this is not an equation. There's not an equals over here. If it doesn't equal something, then you're not solving. So if you're not solving, then you're going to combine your like terms. Negative 2x plus negative 9x is negative 11x, plus 4 plus 9 is plus 13. I've combined my like terms, and that is my simplified problem. Number 12, we're going to be solving an inequality. This is exactly like solving an equation. So I'm going to subtract 5b from both sides. 6b minus 5b is 1b minus 8 less than or equal to 5. I'm going to add 8. I'm going to add 8. b is less than or equal to 13. If you had to put this on a number line, which you don't, but if you did, make yourself a little number line. Because of the equal to symbol, you're going to make a solid circle out in 13. And because it's less than, and this arrow over here points the same way as this, then we're going to shade less than, which is left. Number 13, we are solving this time, though we do have the equation. So first we're going to add 10. Add 10. 2x is going to equal 24. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. And x is going to be equal to 12. And one more problem. Decide whether line 1 and line 2 are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. I'm going to use the slope formula for each of these. So I'm going to have 3 minus negative 1 over negative 13 minus negative 8. 2 negatives makes a positive, 2 negatives makes a positive. So my numerator is 4, my denominator is negative 5. So this together is negative 4/5. Okay. Line 2, we have 4 minus 9 over negative 10 minus negative 6. 2 negatives makes a positive. 4 minus 9 is negative 5. Negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4. So 2 negatives divided, a negative 5 divided by negative 4 makes positive 5/4. Now, compare my slopes. One slope is negative 4/5, the other one is positive 5/4. They are reciprocals of each other, and one's negative and one is positive, so that means these two lines are perpendicular.